rhythm, take control of your mind, your body, and your soul. Can make you dance. Yeah. This beat is hard.
2 years of full-on training is about to pay off for national aerobics champions Kane and Leah Fletcher. After scooping the national pairs title last year, they are ready to take on the world and come out number one. How long have you been involved in aerobics and what got you started?
Well, for me it was quite simple. It was a idea from a lady that I was working with at the time, and she sort of said to me, she goes, "Come along to an aerobics class," and I said, "Oh yeah, right." And that was basically it. I went along to the aerobics class, I died, and found that the next morning I was sore as anything, so I thought there must be something involved in this, and that's been it ever since.
When did you decide to compete together?
Basically 2 years ago. Kane came to a couple of my classes and asked me if I'd ever competed or if was I competing this year, and I went, no. I didn't even ever think about competing. And so we just sort of got together and started working on it. And the ball kept rolling, and we're going to the world champs now. So.
How do you work out routines?
It's a real team effort. We work well together. We bang a few heads a few times, but no, mostly it's a lot of fun. Yeah, basically it's a team effort, really. Totally.
One person will do one thing, and then the other, oh yeah, and let's add this onto this, and we sort of have our own little language we speak, and moves. We just bounce ideas off each other. And sometimes we go out night clubbing and pick up a move, or see something on TV.
Bust moves of people.
Do you get on each other's nerves?
Not usually.
What? What do you mean?
Yeah, we've had our blowouts at times, but we're not. I mean, basically, we spend so much time together, and we're such good friends that we, hang out, and we're pretty even the whole time.
In general, it's usually perhaps a creative difference is probably the nicest way to put it, and that's only because we both see things as individuals. We see things a different way, and the way that we do our move might be quite different. And but in the end, we usually make a compromise, and it ends up being pretty much the best thing for the two of us.
When you're preparing for a world event, what things do you have to do to prepare for it?
I'd like to say diet. I'd like to say diet.
You have to set down a training schedule, and that's not just sort of practicing your routine, but that's doing weights, and we get together and stretch, and we have to pick out music, and we work with a music engineer who mixes our music for us, and there's a lot of paperwork you have to do. We have a couple of sponsors, and we have outfits we have to design, and lycra we have to find, and something that's got to be totally different than anyone else has ever worn, and so there's a lot more involved in it than just getting in there and practicing a routine and going on stage.
I think what a lot of people don't realise when you start to compete at an international level is that it doesn't really get any easier. You sort of think that once you make it to the top, things are going to be quite easy, but it doesn't, because then you start having to worry about airline schedules, you have to start worrying about passports, about travel arrangements, about a foreign language, and all those things that come into play when you go overseas. The nicest thing about the international competition is certainly representing your country, and I think that Leah and I are both very proud to be representing New Zealand and Japan this year.
How do you think you will do in Tokyo?
Definitely. Nothing less.
Okay.
You have to think that way. You can't say, oh, well, we might get second or we might get third. You have to shoot for number one, and if that's not in your head, then you shouldn't even go. You have to believe that you are the best.